Hey you guys, I'm back with another video. This is Save Time with Tori. I just dropped a video about half an hour ago, and here goes another one. This is going to be my last one for today, but this one is going to be maybe a little bit shorter than the other one. Um, I want to talk to you guys about well, the title of the video is called "One of the Guys." Basically, I want to touch on some females tend to want to be one of the guys, they want to hang with the fellas, and it's basically like a group of guys, and then it's like one girl, and they're like just hanging out and things, like no, other females around but her and things. I guess tomboy situation and things like that. Um, I guess this is for the women who are having trouble, I guess, finding men, or just in their masculine era, I guess. So, I just thought I'd touch on this. So, if you're a female that, is in her tomboy era, or that's, hanging out with a group of men, and you're kind of like the only female, or maybe one other one, but it's mainly just a bunch of men. But if you're trying to attract a man, men are attracted to feminine women. So if you're walking around with baggy pants and sagging and got boxers on, we can see the top part of your butt cheeks, and you got on snapback hat and J's on your feet, and just long gold chains, like it's giving lesbian pretty much. And I have seen, women that are not lesbian, and they kind of dressing on the masculine side. They might wear like the button up shirts with the collar, and, kind of like baggy pants that are not like tailored to their body shape and things like that. So, like, if you're having trouble, finding you a man, and you're attracted to men, that's one of the reasons why you're not giving feminine. You're not wearing makeup or wearing very, very little. I'm not saying you have to wear makeup to be feminine. That's not really where I'm going with that. But a little lipstick, a little lip gloss never hurt nobody. A little bit of a little some. You don't have to beat your face or stuff like that. But when you do, it gives extra feminine. You got lashes, or maybe mascara, or a little blush on your cheeks. Get your eyebrows in shape a little bit. And if your hair is in a feminine form style, that gives feminine. But if you walking around, your hair ain't been washed in 10 years, and it's sticking all over your head, you got flyaways and frizz, and like the Instagram models don't show up looking like that. A bad bitch don't show up looking like that. They're gonna show up looking clean from head to feet. What I'm saying? They got jewelry on. That's another sign of femininity. Women that wear bracelets and necklaces. I'm not talking about like, honestly, goth and shit doesn't really count, to be honest. To me, that's still giving masculine. But I do see gothic women wearing like a lot of chains and dark jewelry and stuff, and I guess to them, I guess they might feel like it's feminine, but it's just too dark. And like, most females are about love and light, not dark and dreary. And nothing against goth and all of that, but no, it's not. You're not gonna find too many bad bitches and queens and empresses like putting that shit on. It just don't go together. So if you're clean, you're smelling good, your clothes are feminine colors or pattern designs and earring, all that stuff actually counts as feminine things. Your nails, you got a fresh pedicure, your feet is on point. You ain't got to have the prettiest feet, but as long as they're not crusty, and the paint is chipping off and things like that, people can still respect the fact that you tried, and you're upkeeping yourself, whether or not you're the baddest one in the room or not. People can still tell you put in effort, and that alone is enough. You know what I'm saying? So hanging out with the guys all the time is not like, it's not giving feminine, like, period. And and if you're attracted to one of the guys in the group or whatever, he won't be really motivated to protect you and things like that. In your head you might think, we're together all the time, like, they ride for me. Yeah, they might, but like, let's just say a girl walking down the street and shit, and then some guys are harassing her or something, like, they're gonna be more compelled to go save her than you, because you're acting all tough and macho. Yeah, I can beat a motherfucker up. Yeah, you screaming gorilla. Put my hands on a hoe. Like, you basically telling him that you got it. So they like, hey, do what you do. But the girl up here, hell no. Like, masculine instinct is gonna make him run over there. You know what I'm saying? To go be Captain Save a Hole, versus you over here. I got hands for a hoe. Like, it just don't hit the same. I'm not saying they're gonna like abandon you in the middle of a crisis. That's not really where I'm going with that. But like, men like to save the day, kind of like the game Mario, Super Mario, where he's going through all this shit. He's fighting Bowser and all types of Goombas and flying ducks and damn motherfucking Koopa Troopers and shit, trying to get to Princess Peach because she's helpless. Oh my God, Bowser got me locked up in a dungeon, and like, so now he's like da 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 da. So now he's ready to go save her. Versus if the princess, like, talking shit and acting like she got a pair of balls too, then he might not be as compelled to actually go save her. Versus if she's giving feminine and dainty vibes. So you got to keep that in mind as well. And just the way you carry yourself, if you walking, you pimping, like, that don't really, no. You gotta strut. I ain't saying switch your hips to where you looking obvious and boom, boom. Like, people ain't stupid. People know. I mean, like a casual, like a natural sway of the hips. One foot in front of the other type stuff. Like, don't go overboard with this. Like, please don't. But like, the way you carry yourself, the way you dress, the type of jewelry you put on, like the type of shoes you put on your feet, certain styles, the way you wear your hair, certain things you put on your head, either gives, feminine or more so teeter tottering towards the masculine, or just straight up masculine. You know what I'm saying? But he'll start to subconsciously, in the back of his head, see you as kind of one of the guys to a certain extent, not 100%, because at the end of the day, you're still gonna give off some type of feminine vibes because you are female. You might do your best to try to, be like one of them. You might dress the part, you might pretty much look the part and things like that, but like, at the end of the day, they still know a man from a woman. But it just kills the what's the word I'm looking for, the what's the word it kills the desire for them to want to treat you the right way, which is princess treatment. Because if you're walking around like you're Miss Independent, like you don't need nobody, then eventually after a certain amount of time they're going to stop doing things for you, or not going to be compelled to, like, think of you in that way. So now you just kind of put yourself in this, like, this little box to where like, they're not really want to romance you like that, because you're not presenting yourself as a female. Most men are attracted to feminine women. So if you're giving man, like, unless he's bisexual or straight up gay, then like that's gonna turn off his hormones, and then at that point, like, I'm not sure what the hell is gonna happen. But not to mention, like if you already got a man or whatever, and or if you got a guy that you like that's in the group or whatever, like, at some point in time he needs to do things like with just the men. Like as much as you might want to be in the group or be one of the guys, like he needs a little break to be with all men to talk about men stuff with men because I'm pretty sure there's certain things he might feel uncomfortable talking to you about. So like at that point you need to exit stage left and let men be men, let them do what they do without you. Not to mention some time to decompress, because men like to share certain things with other men. They like to woo saws, stuff by themselves. So if you're always there, just it just don't hit the same. People just need some space, you know what I'm saying? But masculine and feminine just go together. I mean, that's the way God created us. That's the way it's supposed to be. So, like you can't bring all this masculine towards a masculine man. It's not, it doesn't, you have the penis and you have the vagina, it goes like this. But if you have like it don't work out like that. But I mean, I guess if you wanted to work out like that, but I mean, I don't motherfucking know. But the point is, like if you're a woman that's trying to level up her femininity, if you're a girl that's hanging with the guys a lot, and you're kind of rough around the edges and things like that, like if you want a man to take you seriously, you're gonna have to get your shit together. Like you ain't, like I said, you ain't got to go overboard. You ain't got to go put on a dress if you feel uncomfortable. But it's baby steps to this. But dresses are like one of the most feminine things you can wear, to be honest. But if you're not quite ready for that or whatever, then you can start with something simple, like a little nice pair of feminine looking pants with some flowers on it, or just work your way up until you can get back to where you need to go. But if you're still having trouble after, I really don't have a timeline for real, but if you're still having trouble after, a long, lengthy period of time, like 6 to 12 months, I just gave a timeline. It could be more than that, but after about 6 to 12 months, you should be in the groove by then. But if the shit still feels unnatural and shit, you might want to check and make sure you're not a lesbian. No, your camera didn't freeze. You might want to make sure you ain't batting for the other team type shit. So I don't know why my watch be spying on me type shit. But anyway, if that's the case, then you just cut the damn video. I'll be honest with you. But I'm speaking to those who want to be feminine, who are interested in men, but they trying to figure out why they can't you know attract the alpha men. And that's kind of why, because you're not giving female, you're giving INDEPEND. And most men ain't looking for that unless they using you in their beta and they trying to live off you bum shit. And that we ain't on that either. But anyway, I just thought I'd touch on that real quick for those who may need it. But anyway, this is Save Time with Tori, and I do what? I save you time from the bullshit. Okay, bye.